Hello, welcome to my budget with me. This is the first time how I'm going to show you how I do my budgeting. Um, so far, this method has worked for me, but it's different for different people. I suggest you maybe start with an Excel sheet or a budgeting tool on your phone or computer to see what system works for you and then work towards how you want your things to work. This is not the exact planner I use, binder, but this is something I'm trying out for next year. I'd like to have mine on paper starting next year. So now this is how I lay out mine. This is now from the whole year. I'd have 3 months each quarter with the month, income, expenses, date, and whatnot if I have any, and any notes I have to see. I spent too much on food this month. I spent too much on this and that and the other. That sort of thing. Sinking funds goals. This is where I put my goals, how much I want to have by the end of the year or by the end of the whole goal, you know. So for example, here I'd put forever home, start date. When I start a date, the goal amount is, I don't know. Please know that there are 3 zeros after this. So every time you see me write that, just making it short. Accounting background. Goal date, we put in a date here, the current balance, how much you have now, and how much you're going to be stuffing each month. So far, this is what I'm doing, but you fill in all these because these are going to be your sinking funds for the year. So then subscriptions tracker. At the moment, I have Spotify and Audible. And my Spotify is due on the 4th and the Audible is due on the 8th of every month. This is 13,000 and this one is about 39,000. So this is where I'd put your different subscriptions. If you're subscribed to something, if you have things you're subscribed to and you're not sure, you know, money leave in your account every month and you're not sure how, go into your accounts or your bank account and check, or check your Google Pay and see which ones you're subscribed to. Unsubscribe to anything you don't want to. Anyway, that's here. Now the main event is this. So this is the month. This is where I'd write my month. So this month, I'd say salary for the husband, salary for me. This, remember again, I have 3 zeros. So at the end of every amount I put down. So this month, for example, will be like this, the total. I leave these blank just in case some extra money comes in. You never know. And with Christmas coming up, you never know with these things. You can get an extra bit of money, a bonus, whatever, and you can just enter it in here. You have to plan for all your money, all of it. So now we get to bills. I have to take out the binder, of course. Tithe is dependent on the total here, but the preliminary at the moment is that much, 10% of what you earn. Electricity. Now, because I would like to have, I'm saving an emergency fund elsewhere, but even here, I'd like to have almost a whole year of expenses paid up. So I want to have 6 months here and 6 months in the emergency fund. That means because I pay electricity for 150 every month, 6 months will be 4.5 in here, 5 million. So maybe I should do 5 for each 10. Ugh, it's looking very daunting right now. But Before I get to that and put in a fully funded in here, I have to keep putting it in. So at the moment, I can see that we have 300. If you missed the money, how much I have in here, you go back, you know, how I got the totals at the end of the month, because I do that every month before I do the planning. So umeme is 150 as a given. Internet is, again, I still want to have 6 months of expenses, so I haven't gotten fully funded here. I'm still going to put in the amount I usually do. Groceries always gets 150 because this is going to be emptied out to put in savings somewhere. Pantry is getting 300. Also being removed to go into savings, either 100 envelopes or my denominational savings. Pet always gets 150, no questions. So that's how much I'm planning for this month. There will be an amount at bank, of course. Now, I use the hybrid system, so I'm doing both electronic and cash. When you see this sort of thing, this is money at bank. And I remember saying that this add a few other zeros at the end. I'm using old notes that are out of circulation, made copies, and you know, that sort of thing. If you're interested in getting this sort of setup for yourself, let me know. If there are enough people, I'll start selling it. So, so I need to know how much is at bank for this. This is how much, and total stuffed. So how much would be going is when I plan condensing, or if I do condense the month, I put it here, how much went to bank, and then how much is at bank at that time is here. This binder right now is not looking very full, so I don't think I have to at the moment. Plus, I have the subscriptions one. I budget 50,000 every month for subscriptions. Right now, it's looking like it has 150. That means I have only 3 months of it. I'm still going to put 50 because, again, this 50 is going to be reduced when the subscriptions leave my bank. So eventually, I want to get to a point where even when I put 50, I still always have that much money in the bank saved up for emergencies. Yes, I like to keep my subscriptions, still continue living life even in the event of an emergency. Okay, so that's this. The total stuffed, I don't put the total for bank. Total stuffed is what I put in. So total stuffed is 1450. So now the first thing I need to do is make sure that this is not a whole 50% of the amount of money I am using, because that means I'll be living outside of my means. There's a point at which I had rent, a story for another day. If I added rent at that time, 2.2, which is fine because it's still not more than half. If you have expenses here, the bills that are more than half of the amount of money you get, you're living beyond your means, and that is not a good thing because then you don't have money to save for other things. So that is this first one. Let's put this aside for a minute. The next one we deal with is sinking funds. Now, in normal circumstances, I use the 5-jar method, by the way. 5 jars meaning bills, expenses, savings, investment, and debt, and tithe. So you've seen tithe already. and you've seen the bills already. So I have 3 more. One of them is this. This is the savings jar. In the savings, I don't have percentages for the rest of this. I just put in as much as I think I need for the rest of what I need to do. Now, sinking funds, farm is something I put in here, but I still need to put in money for it. And this one changes, whereas the rest of most of these do not change because it's supposed to be a fixed amount. So, farm, I think I'm going to put in 100,000. The rest get 100. Apart from this one gets 200. 200. So the travel 1, 2, 3. This is this year's travel in 5 years, in 10 years, but depending on whether God tells me to give it away or not. Then I decide how to deal with it. So usually, again, these get a fixed amount every month, no questions asked. Only when I do not make enough, for example, we're both self-employed, only when we both don't get enough and it does not add up on this side, do we then stagger this. But this has to remain the same. This may not get, this may not, but this will. So we decide, we make a decision as to which one we should skip for the month. New car, at some point in my life, I'd like to drive a new one, like brand new. So if it takes a few years, it's okay. Household, this is for anything household related. I will keep stuffing it until I have, remember this place here we had for sinking funds goals. I have a goal for household that to have in there all the time, just in case. This would be fixing the sink, fixing the toilet. The wall has, I don't know, the windows have issues. Household things, curtains. I want to change the curtains. I want to change the sofa. I want to buy a better dining table. You never know, but I'm not there yet. So I'm saving for that. Emergency. Remember, I said I want to have 6 months of expenses in this. Every month I put 100. It is coming along, seeing as I didn't start it at the beginning of this whole thing like everything else. And then savings. Savings is separate because this one, as it grows, I put it into investment. The rest is just, and this savings is also kind of emergency spending. Not this for bills, but emergency spending, like because my health is not built up properly, I can take out of this and whatnot. So also 100. High value bond, of course, we know what this is. I'd like to have high value bonds at the end of my whatnot. So this is what would be my retirement. Since we are both self-employed, this is where we put our money to do our retirement thing. So here, 100. As I said, I have to know how much is at bank. Two accounts here. I have separate jars for this emergency and the normal savings. Remember, I said jars. For me, jars specifically are bank accounts. So there's the bills bank account, then there's the account for the savings and the account for emergency and savings. So that's the budget for that one. Oh dear. So let's do some mathematics. Is that so? Let me do it again, just to be sure. is, so remember I said here is if I'm doing any cash stuffing. Now here's the thing. With all these, apart from farm, I put it all into the bank, straight into the bank. Apart from this one, because I am trying to get new curtain. So I'd like to have it in cash. However, if it gets too much, I will move it to bank. So now that I'm doing all this directly to bank, how much am I putting in bank? And how much am I putting in savings? So of course, savings here is getting 200, which is this amount. And then bank is getting, so here, let me just remove here 200. Then minus this 100, that's going to stay, and minus that 100 that is staying in cash because I want planters. 700 is what's going into the bank for that. So I need to have it in mind when I get paid to move this money into the bank immediately, and then make sure that I have placeholders to put into my envelopes. Okay, so that's this done. Savings challenges, this usually comes up with, now my plan for savings challenges is to take money from pantry and groceries and emergency fund and put it in here. I could do the plan here, like, you know, because I usually do it separately. I could do the plan here and say, okay, groceries gave me this much, pantry gave me that much, miscellaneous gave me that much. I'm going to put this amount into 100 envelopes here, and the, you know, the denominational savings that much, so that it's organized. Then you, if you count balance, you count it. I don't count it. I'd like to do it at the end of the year so that I know how much I have and feel good about the amount of money I've saved, because there's also coinage, you know, and then take all that to the bank and redistribute it in some of my sinking funds later on. Debt. This is a very interesting category because every month you need to plan for debt if you have it. So if you have a mortgage, loan, mortgage is from the house, loan is just general business loans or whatever, you have to plan for it, and you need to be using the snowball method to make it go faster. So for example, if you pay 500,000 in, hold on, if you have, since this is a thing, so here the mortgage is 250, right? Your business loan is 250. That's if you're a sole proprietor. If you're not a sole proprietor, you should have this situation for your business, actual business. It helps to do this for that, so you're saving up. Anyway, moving on. So the balance is here, is payment is supposed to be here. The balance is, for example, this one has one which can't be, it's probably this much, and the loan has 2.5 left. These are examples. So here is what you do. You put in, you pay that. Now, when you finish the loan, or you do that the smallest one first, you concentrate on the smallest one. When you finish the loan, you still be paying 500,000 into loans, but you put it now all on your mortgage. If you need a full explanation on the snowball debt paying method, there are so many videos on YouTube about it. But if you'd like for me to explain to you, I can do that. Let me know in the comments below. But I don't have any debts, thank God. So this is escape for me. If you want to fill in your savings challenges, you do that. I like to do it mentally and not know how much I'm putting in and how much I have balances, because it's very easy for me to count it and know. I'd like to be surprised at the end of the year. Now, this is a savings challenge tracker. You can just duplicate this if you have. Now, this is for people who like to count their money. The challenge is 100 envelopes. The goal amount is 5,500,000. 50. Due date, how long? How monthly is how much? If you're going to be specifically saving, instead of like doing the other one of sinking funds, or you do this, or any extra money, you do this instead of going to for me now would be variable expenses. Some people would prefer to just save and then have their own spending money aside for other things. But this is something I don't do. I do this, variable expenses. Now, my variable expenses is this binder. So I go through each of them and add. I again have goals for when this is fully funded. I can't keep putting money in this when it becomes 10 million. This would be outrageous. So for example, I have 1 million cap or 500,000 cap on this one. Once it gets to that, it's fully funded. So I just take out and replace the next month with how much money I have taken out, for example, or just a small amount along the way until it is fully funded again. So at this point, things get a bit interesting. I need to know how much balance I have now from the amount of money I have been spending. So yeah, I had 5 million at the beginning. So if you remember, I had 5 at the beginning. I'm going to remove 1,450. Was it 1,450? Hold on. Yes, 1,450. Then remove sinking funds. So when I remove sinking funds, I'm left with 2,450. At least that's what my math is telling me. When you remove bills and sinking funds, that 2,450 is what's going to become this binder. Now, there's money that I should put aside for spending for myself and my husband at any one point. So let me just write these out. Okay, so I've written all of it out. The first things I'm going to put in is spending for me and my husband. Spending for him, spending for me. Then I remove that from here. That leaves me 1050 for the rest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Divide by 11, 95,000 each. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead, there are some that I don't take seriously. I do have to put in miscellaneous, so I'm going to still put 100 in that. I'm going to put 100 in all these others, apart from the ones I think, and I put this in heavy quotes, I don't need. So of the 1050 that is left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've removed 800. That's left me with 250. But I only have 2 envelopes here, right? So I can put 100 here. And finally, after a whole long time, I can actually put 150 in my business. So now just make sure that all of them are catered for. Loads, spending, gifts, transport, drinks, health, maintenance, business, miscellaneous. So they're all catered for. And this amount should add up to the amount I had in balance when I calculated before. So now this remainder should add up to how much I had before. So it's here, 2,450. Now we do the math. Okay, let's try this again. This time I'll get rounds I finish. Or this is 400. 200. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? That's 400. This one is unnecessary. 50. 2, 450. So business is getting 50. It's the least important one right now. Drinks has quite a bit, so I don't have to put in. If I get to a point where some of these are full, that's fully funded, like I want health to have at least 1 million in it. I want the car maintenance to have at least 2 in it. That doesn't mean my car will break down all the time, but if I have 2 in it at all times, if anything happened, I can pay for it without going into my savings and whatnot. Miscellaneous and business are not that important because we're both self-employed. We have money that goes into its own separate, we have separate accounts for those things. So this is just in the event that I have a business idea that I'd like to try out and I need to have funding for that, instead of dipping into any of my other monies, I can take from this. So at one point, if God says I need to start another, I'll get serious about putting money in here. But once these build up, especially hygiene, because now that I've braided my hair, it's going to take a bit before I need to go into the salon. This will build up. This will build up. This will also build up. I'd like to have 500 in gifts at any one point because, wedding meetings, Kwanjula things, all that jazz. If I can take it out of here, that would be helpful. I'd like to have 500 in this at any one point as well. Fill up the car twice in a month. If we don't travel, hallelujah, praise God. If God decides to provide for us fuel through something else, because the work I do, the work I do, my workplace sometimes gives me fuel, hallelujah, if I have to travel. So these sorts of things, you need to plan according to how you think you'll spend, but this is just variable expenses, things that if I can do without, if I have to. So in most cases, I wouldn't put this in if this money did not remain. If there was no this, it's okay. If it's a bad month, as you know, people who are self-employed, some months are very difficult. If the month is not good, I don't put in the amount, this money. I just leave this whole place blank. And if you've been watching my videos, you've seen some months were not so good. So this would just be empty. I wouldn't stuff this particular binder. But the other two are very important. You have to save and you have got to be putting in your bills. So that's this. Now, after all is said and done with this, I do the cash planning. Cash planning is how much cash I'm going to have on me, or to put into the different denominations. So I'd have to go back and look at this, for example. I put dots on the ones that are going to the bank. So this is bank, this is bank. I don't usually keep that much money in the house nowadays. This is all bank. So apart from household and farm, this is all bank. Then none of the bills is bank because there's still some money at the bank. So we'll use that to spend until I need to condense again. But since all this is bank, now I just need to find out which ones I'm putting in cash. Oh, tithe is bank. This is bank because I directly push it to the church, my home church. So now I have these. I'm going to put in the cash planning. So let me see. The reason I like this system is I can take this out and work on it alongside So we were talking about which ones are bank and which ones are not. So here we are. Category meme. First, wait. Since I'm doing electronic and whatnot, can't I move this to bank? Internet bank, because I pay it at bank and just put them in cards. This has to be cash. So groceries has to be cash. Pantry has to be cash. Well, let me put a question mark here because 150,000 of it can be not cash. Then pet, I think I have enough in cash that I can use card here. So I'm moving this to cash, to bank. Subscriptions is at bank because the money comes out of bank. Okay, so that reduces significantly. So now I know how much I'm putting at bank here. See why I left this blank? So that's 300, 150, 450, 500. I'm still making a decision as to this one. So let's put a small 500 here, just in case I can put a plus how much I'm going to add. So I might keep 150 and it's okay. I do pantry buying here. So far my pantry is looking fine. Next farm is 100. Household 100. Household is 100. So these are also getting. And then the ones I'm cashing the most are these ones of variables, because these I spend when I spend until they build up enough that I can just move it to cash, to card, in which case will I have to open another bank account for this? Questions. I think I may have to, but I have no problem with doing that because then again, we need to have separate jars. This is a jar for me specifically. So date night, hygiene. I have to do my nails, but as you can see, I do them at home and minimum. Clothes. Spending is going to bank. Gifts 100. Transport 100. Health 100. Maintenance 100. Coziness 50, and miscellaneous 100. The total I should be getting is speed calc. Let's do this again. Okay, so I should be bringing this much. So now I do the denominations. 50s 3, 50s 6, 50s 2 for most of these. 1 here, 2 here. So now I know what denominations I get. Sometimes the money is different. So of course here you're going to be putting 20s, 10s, 5s, 1s and whatnot. And you, when you're at the bank or the agent, you tell them, can you change this money for me? Can you change that for me? Until you get the denominations that you want. They shouldn't refuse. If you're going directly to the bank, you can even give them your teller slip and show them that, okay, I want these denominations. Can you give them to me this way? So that it adds up. Okay, here we are. Should put it back. Yep. Okay, so that's my budgeting thing. So the three systems I use, yes, three, is hybrid cash and electronic. So I use both cash and electronic. Some money at bank, some money in cash, so that I have readily available cash to spend, but also money at card if I need to go to a supermarket and whatnot, because I take card these days. I use the 5-jar method to plan for how much I should put in each of these things to make sure that I am not living without, outside of my means. For example, this 50% thing. And then I also use the zero budget method, which is making sure all the money has a job. So as you remember, we made sure that even here, the balance should be zero. There should be a balance down here that I should have put, but I'm so accustomed to doing this that I know mentally how to do it. So you add this up here, then subtract this from 5 million. How much is this here? And so on and so forth. So yes, this is how I do my budgeting. I hope this was informational, educational even, and let me know if you're interested in something like this. I can put it electronically somewhere so you can print it for yourself. But otherwise, be well, be safe. I'll see you in the next one.